Hello everyone, and we are back once again to Kerbal Space Program. In the last adventure, we have put ourselves in orbit around the other new moon called Minmus. It is much further away from Kerbin than the original moon was. We are going to attempt to do a landing here. Or actually, we're going to attempt to do two landings here, because, in fact, Minmus has two spacecraft currently orbiting it. One of them is the Mariner probe, or the prototype rather, and the other one is our manned Aldrin lander. So first things first, I am going to try to land the Mariner prototype, because it's probably less risky to land an unmanned system than it is to try to land ourselves onto it. So, let us visit the Mariner prototype. Let's see, Mariner prototype. Here we go. So this is how we're currently set up. The Mariner prototype is a probe that has 4 satellite systems and this fancy-dancy communications dish here. So what I'm going to do is try to pick a spot for us to land in. I'm going to try to pick an easy or... Actually, well, the easy spots that would be simple to land in. See how this how Minmus has these sort of small pools here, or lakes. They're not exactly lakes, but they are very flat surfaces, which would be ideal places to try to attempt your first landings. Now, we're not actually going to really use the node. That's more of like a guideline. We're going to actually, when we get close enough to it, I'm going to perform a retrograde maneuver that'll slowly push us until we kill all of our horizontal velocity, just like what we did on the original moon, and then we should go straight down and thrust the rest of our way down to safety. Why does it think it's going to take 233 years for us to perform that maneuver? Let's see. Well, first things first, since we're going to be landing, I'm going to start retracting a couple of our solar panel systems, and I'm also going to retract the antenna. We don't technically need to have either of those up at the moment. I'm going to keep two of the satellite, two of the solar panel systems up, so that we can continue to have energy up to our own landing. That is so cool. I really love how it opens and closes like a flower. That is really the coolest thing. I'm going to perform the actual burden with our bigger thruster tank. But before we do that, we actually have the ability to do a little bit of science. So real quick, I'm going to observe the materials bay. Unlike our man probe, we can only transmit the data instead of keep it, because we fully intend this lower stage to crash down onto the surface. So I'm just going to transmit it instead. Oh, and I guess it actually reopens our transmitter. And I guess while we're up here, we can also do a goo experiment, which we will also transmit. Now those two systems are useless. We also have one more Science Junior experiment and one more goo experiment, and I'm going to do those as we're falling down onto the planet, and then quickly jettison this lower system, and then use this upper stage where our RCS fuel tanks are and these landers are to try to land this craft. When we get really low, I'm going to retract all of the panels, because that way, if we do accidentally tumble across the surface of the planet, we won't risk accidentally damage the solar panels on the way there. So, that being said, I am now going to position us across the node here. I'm going to put ourselves in orbit. Oh, we're actually going the opposite way. That's interesting. So I'm going to do this until we get fairly close. And then when we get close enough, I'm going to commit to a full burn here. So let us quickly go back. We don't have to go to the rocket. Oh, yep, see those green areas? That's where we want to land. And in order to do that, we have to perform a burn maneuver. Actually, I'm going to position it so that we are burning right in a line here so that we have a higher chance of actually landing at it. In fact, I'm going to start burning now because we're pretty much above the area we want to be in. I'm going to quick save right now just in case anything happens, by the way. Oh, we're already doing what we don't want to do. I'm going to actually go to our retrograde module right here and quickly thrust on that. And chase the module here until it is completely up at the top. That's more or less the quickest way to get up. I've sort of forgot that, unfortunately, so I'm going to be paying dearly for the consequences. In fact, I'm probably going to push it a little bit more so that we can still land where we want to. Because I think we're a little bit off course, so I'm going to push us a little bit more this way. And then once I'm positive that we're over the area that we want to be over, I will then perform another retrograde where we will finally commit to a landing. Okay, there we go. I'll wait for us to arc over the center of this pool right here. The lake, I'm not even sure what to call it, quite honestly. We're nearly there. Now, the nice thing about this particular moon is because it has much less gravity, there's a lot more thrust that we can use and a lot more room for error. And I think we are actually, in fact, close to where we want to be. So I am going to commit our... Yep, we're definitely over the area. So before we get too far away from where we want to be, I'm going to now perform our retrograde. By finding our retrograde module and turning up the thruster, and then chasing it into the center of the hole where it should... I mean, the center of the blue. That'll put it right on top. When the retrograde marker is right on top, that means that we will be burning for an inevitable approach. Oop. We're getting close. We're getting very close indeed. Nice, gentle burns. There. And if I did that right, that should mean that we are now falling directly towards the surface. Yep, we are now on exactly the trajectory that I want. That's perfect. So now all we have to do is land safely. I'm going to quick save, just because now that we've gotten to where we want to go, I want to make sure that we are doing things right. When we dip below 10 meters, I am going to conduct one more Science Junior experiment and then jettison this module, and then come down on the RCS thrusters. But I'm not going to quick save until we successfully land on the planet, because if it turns out that that planet is stupid, then I want to make sure that I can compensate for that. The actual probe itself still has as much energy as it needs. In fact, well, I'm not going to retract these other two panels yet, because I want to make sure that we maintain symmetry, just in case it turns out we need it. For the actual landing. I think if we try to land at our RCS thrusters while we don't have symmetry, it might screw things up. I am going to wait a little bit more. I'm going to speed things up. Okay, that's a little bit dangerous now. I'm going to perform the other materials bay observation real quick. Looks like that's nothing quite new. Well, it's still 84 signs by the looks of things. Mystery goo experiment. Meh. Well, the thing is, we'd have to actually transmit this data, because we're about to crash it. If we just tell it to keep the data, it's going to be destroyed anyway. So we want to see if we can get it to happen. If we can't, I'm just going to jettison this anyway for our own safety. I want to make sure that we are aimed directly for the ground immediately. I'm going to try observing this one more time. Maybe when we reach below 7 kilometers? No, not quite. I'm gonna perform a very minor burn right now to buy us a little bit more time. Wait, unless that's actually giving us a peculiar orbit. No, we should still be good. I'm gonna try one more time below 50, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna jettison this piece because we're... yeah, this is dangerous. I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm going to put down our landing gear, turn on RCS with R, and hit H. And that's going to start to slow us down. I'm going to put on our resources menu right there. Turn on our landing lights. And try to make sure that we have a nice, even system. I'm decelerating us now. We were at 80, now we're down to 70, approaching 60. We know that we're still safe because I can't see our lights on the ground, so we still have a little bit more time. Considering that we're very close to approaching the ground, I'm now going to retract our panels. This is a safety precaution. In case we land and tumble, our panels won't get damaged. Oh dear. We're getting very close to the surface now. I'm holding on to H steadfast because I want to make sure that we do not... I think we're going to crash, actually. Yeah, come on, baby. Come on, we're gonna crash. I can't decelerate quickly enough. Wait, actually, hold on. Hold on now. We're not doing that bad. We might be able to make it out of this. No, we're definitely gonna crash. We're definitely gonna crash. Oh, no! Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh, this is where things get terrifying. I don't think we're supposed to be landing like this at all. It's good that we're learning this now because I don't want to... See, if we hadn't retracted our solar panels... I can't believe we're not destroyed. This craft isn't completely destroyed yet. Oh, something broke. I don't think that was us. I think that was some of our debris. Okay, let's... Yep, that was our debris, definitely, for sure. Okay. Wow, this is probably the most absurd thing that I have done so far. I'm gonna actually retract our gears. Oh, I don't think I can, actually. Do we not have enough fuel for this? Well, you know what? That's okay. I think maybe this is really... Just a word to the wise, this shouldn't be how... This is not how you're supposed to be doing this. Okay. Alright. Hold on, we might slow to a stop here. If we do, miraculously, we will have survived this trip. This doesn't bode well for us actually landing our proper lander here. But, nonetheless, surprisingly enough, it looks like we have actually landed on the surface. This is the most bizarre landing that I have ever done. But it worked! Yeah, and all my readings are still going. I'm going to extend our solar panels. So welcome to Minmus, everyone, in the most awkward way we could have possibly landed. But it's a good thing we retracted our devices, because if we hadn't, then then we would have broken all of our solar panels and our transmitter, and then we would have had a broken mission. Nonetheless, we have safely arrived, in the most hilariously slapsticky kind of way possible. So, we've got some science here. Let's conduct it real quick. So we can transmit 45 science immediately. We're on the lesser flats, that's what it officially calls this place. We can transmit this data for 45 science. Imagine the science we'll get when we actually land here. That'll be something cool. We can log the pressure. Well, actually, no. It looks like we can't log that pressure data because this data area has no pressure to note. But it does have a temperature of 20 science. So let's transmit that for 50 scientific data value. If we didn't have this particular antenna that we're using right now, I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't be getting nearly as much data out of this. I wonder if that's a sunrise or a sunset over there. I'm tempted to sort of time travel a bit and see if it is indeed or isn't. And I'm just going to open up the the antenna because it looks cool. So there you have it, everybody. We have landed on the surface of another world. And I'm going to turn off our lights to save energy, because if this does indeed turn out to be a sunset, then this device is going to lose power shortly. Now, we still have a lot of monopropellant left, actually. We still have 176 out of 200, so we might actually be able to pick up this craft and put it in a different location to land it. But we'll do that a little bit later. I'm going to try to do that depending on where we actually put our Kerbin lander, our actual manned mission. I can't believe how absurd that tumbling thing was. The same might happen to our manned mission, but the problem with that is that if we try to do that, we can't retract a lot of our systems, so we actually would be exploding if we try to perform that same sort of stunt with our Kerbin. So we have to be a little bit better about our landings. First things first, let's pick a landing location. I kind of like the looks of this area up here. So I'm going to aim us to above that particular plainsy area, if that's the proper term for it. And actually, real quick, I should conduct a crew report. Our favorite childhood dessert. So already that's another 20 science, and in fact I should remember to do crew reports. They're rather important, so I should be doing those frequently. When we... Actually, you know what? Before we even get there, I'm going to do a quick EVA above the surface. I'm going to quick save prior to doing so. I'm going to start an EVA just in case. EVA report of an additional 32 science. Good. Now I'm going to take that data and get back on board. Doing that will allow us to do more crew reports and more EVA reports as we get closer. Let's see if we're close to where we want to be at. Not quite. So I'm going to speed up time a little bit more to put us above the plateau, the mesa there, that I've put my marker on. Okay, now we are officially above the area, so I want to start doing my burn now. Toggle that up just a little bit. Now, unlike where our probe is, this area has a higher altitude, so our meters are actually going to be a little bit less coming down. We will have less room to really sort of... Oop! Don't want to let it go too far now. Have to chase it back to the middle. Little more, just very subtle. Subtle bursts. Nice. Subtle. Since we're close to the surface, I'm not going to let it go too high, so I'm going to burn at a pretty consistent rate. But you don't want it to burn too much either, because if you burn too much, then you will surpass this planet's gravity and actually float away from the from your landing spot. And the problem with that, as you can probably guess, is that if we float too far away from the spot, then we will have wasted all that fuel just to get back up to where we are now. So I'm going to do a very subtle burn that should push us off of this subtle right direction movement here. You're getting very close now. Now, the thing is, at this speed, if we were to hit the ground, we would survive. But the main real problem with that is that if we had any horizontal speed going on at this stage, the main problem would be that we would very, very slowly start to tumble. And unlike our satellite, which was a bit more robust, if we tumble, we are going to be in a lot more trouble. Okay, so it looks like we're more or less heading straight towards the surface. I'm going to start up our thrust again so that we can very, very slowly approach. If we do this right, we should be doing somewhere between 5 and 0 meters per second when we finally hit the ground. The slower, ideally, the better. And look at that, we're so close that our lights are showing up. I'm going to boost up a little bit here. Boost back down so that we can continue to fall. Turn us very slightly. It looks like there's a little bit, a very slight amount of horizontal momentum here. I'm going to stop thrusting for a second because I think we're actually falling so slowly that it's going to take us a little bit of time to get there. Okay, nearly there. Nearly. Just about. Let's pay attention to our lights. And slow down, kill the thrust. We did it, everyone! We did it! We landed on another surface! Oh, we're still bouncing a little bit, but that's okay. That's just fine. We did it! I'm going to do a quick crew report now. We've got an additional 25 science for now. We're in the Midlands. That's where things we are right now. So we did it! Whew! My heart was beating like crazy there for a second, you guys. Let's do some surface samples of our mystery goo, which gave us a 50 science, and materials bay observation, which gives us a whopping 125 science. We can also do a thermometer test up here, which gives us 40 science, and a seismometer test, which gives us another 100 science. So right away we have a significant amount of science. Barometer, unfortunately, is useless here, but what can you do? As usual, of course, we are not done with our experiments, though. We are going to perform an EVA, plant a flag, and do a little bit more. Oh, I'm just so happy, you guys don't even know. Quick save. We are going to do a, actually, we already did a crew report. I'm going to get out to perform an EVA. Oh! EVA real quick, 40 science just by nature of being here. We feel like a superhero when we're on the surface. I'm going to press F to quickly grab on again real quick. I'm going to take all the data, just because I want us to have the data stored there, because that way we can do multiple EVAs at once. I am going to get on the ground. Before I do, I'm going to press F5 again to quick save, because we don't know what the gravity of this place is going to be like for our Kerbin friend. Oh, wow, look at this. This place has almost no gravity at all. Do you see this? We're going so far, so fast, and we'll want to be careful, actually. Let's see what a simple jump does. Oh, wow. You know, if there were actual cliffs around here, this would actually be a cool place to land, because we could probably hop over cliffs. And even if we fell, we could use our RCS thruster to safely land us, too. So that's awesome. Anyway, let's not get distracted. We have some science to perform. Let's do a, oh, actually, I think that EVA is the one we just did right now. I am going to review the data. We're at the Midlands. I'm actually going to do this EVA again because we can. I'm going to do a surface sample because obviously we want to have a sample to return that gives us a whopping 150 science. I'm going to do an EVA report, which gives us 40 science, which I believe was actually the same EVA that we just did a moment ago. Obviously, we're going to plant a flag because I'm very proud of this occasion. And we are going to call this the Aldrin 1 landing. No, actually the Midlands landing site. A tense landing situation. And there we have it, ladies and gents. Our first landing on Minmus and our second landing on another surface. We did it. Until next time, everyone, when we try to get home, this is Ardwick. Stay tuned, and good night.